Part 3. After lunchtime, Bepin Babu realized that he couldn't possibly carry on sitting at his desk and working. This had never happened in the 25 years he had been with the firm. He had a reputation for a being tireless, conscientious worker. But today his head was in a whirl. Back home at 2:30, Bepin Babu lay down in bed and tried to gather his wits together. He knew that it was possible to lose one's memory through an injury in the head. But he didn't know of a single instance of someone remembering everything except one particular incident. And a fairly recent and significant one at that. He had always wanted to go to Ranchi. To have gone there, done things, and not to remember was something utterly impossible. At 7:30, Bepin Babu's servant came and announced, Chunni Babu sir, says it's very important. Bepin Babu knew what Chunni Lal had come for. Chunni Lal had been at school with him. He had been having a rough time lately and had been coming to see him about a job. Bepin Babu knew it was not possible to do anything for him. And in fact, told him so. But Chunni kept turning up like a bad penny. Bepin Babu sent word that not only was it not possible for him to see Chunni now, but not in several weeks. As soon as the servant stepped out of the room, it struck Bepin Babu that Chunni might remember something about the 58 trip. There was no harm in asking him. Bepin Babu hurried down the stairs and into the living room. Chunni was about to leave. But seeing Bepin Babu appear, he turned round hopefully. Bepin Babu didn't beat about the bush. Listen, Chunni. I want to ask you something. You have a good memory. And you have been seeing me off and off for a long time. Just throw your mind back and tell me, did I go to Ranchi in 58? Chunni said, 58? It must have been 58. Or was it 59?
You are sure.
I did go to Ranchi. Chunni's look of amazement was not unmixed with worry. Do you mean you have doubts about having gone at all? Did I go? Do you remember clearly? Chunni sat down on the sofa, fixed Bepin Babu with a long, hard stare and said, Bepin, have you taken to drugs or some things? As far as I know, you had a clean record where such things were concerned. I know that old friendship don't mean much to you, but at least you had a good memory. You can't really mean that. You have forgotten about the Ranchi trip? Bepin Babu had to turn away from Chunni's incredulous stare. Do you remember what my last job was? Asked Chunnilal. Of course. You worked in a travel agency. You remember that? And you don't remember that? It was I who fixed up your railway booking for Ranchi. I went to the station to see you off. One of the fans in your compartment was not working. I got an electrician to fix it. Have you forgotten everything? Whatever is the matter with you? You don't look too well, you know. Bepin Babu signed and shook his head. I have been working too hard. He said at last. That must be the reason. Must see about consulting a specialist. Doubtless it was Bepin's condition which made Chunnilal leave without mentioning anything about a job. Paresh Chanda was a young physician with a pair of bright eyes and a sharp nose. He became thoughtful when he heard about Bepin Babu's symptoms. Look, Dr. Chanda, said Bepin Babu desperately. You must cure me of this horrible illness. I can't tell you how it's affecting my work. Dr. Chanda shook his head. You know what, Mr. Choudhury? He said. I have never had to deal with a case such as yours. Frankly, This is quite outside my field of experience. But I have one suggestion. I don't know if it will work, but it's worth a try. It can do no harm. Bepin Babu leaned forward anxiously. As far as I can make out, said Dr. Chanda, and I think you are of the same opinion. You must have been to Ranchi. But due to some unknown reason, the entire episode has slipped out of your mind. What I suggest is that you go to Ranchi once again. The sight of the place may remind you of your trip. This is not impossible. More than that, I cannot do at the moment. I'm prescribing a nerve tonic and a tranquilizer. Sleep is essential, or the symptoms will get more pronounced. Bepin Babu felt somewhat better the next morning. After breakfast, he rang up his office, gave some instructions, and then procured a first-class ticket for Ranchi for the same evening. Comprehension check. Who was Chunilal? What did he want from Bepin Babu? Question number 2. Why was Dr. Chanda puzzled? What was unusual about Bepin Babu's loss of memory? Part 4. Getting off the train at Ranchi next morning, he realized at once that he had never been there before. He came out of the station, took a taxi, and drove around the town for a while. He realized that the streets, the buildings, the hotels, the bazaar, the Morabadi hills, with none of these had he the slightest acquaintance. Would a trip to the Choudhury Falls help? He didn't believe so. But at the same time, he didn't wish to live with the feeling that he hadn't tried enough. So he arranged for a car and left for Choudhury in the afternoon. At 5 o'clock the same afternoon in Choudhury, two Gujarati gentlemen from a group of picnickers discovered Bepin Babu lying unconscious beside a boulder. When he came round, The first thing Bepin Babu said was, I am finished. There is no hope left. Next morning, Bepin Babu was back in Calcutta. He realized that there was truly no hope for him. Soon he would lose everything. His will to work, his confidence, his ability, his balance of mind. Was he going to end up in the asylum at? Bepin Babu couldn't think any more. Back home, he rang up Dr. Chanda and asked him to come over. Then, after a shower, he got into bed with an ice bag, clamped on his head. Just then, the servant brought him a letter which someone had left in the letter box. A greenish envelope with his name in red ink on it. Above the name it said, urgent and confidential. In spite of his condition, Bepin Babu had a feeling that he ought to go through the letter. He tore open the envelope and took out the letter. This is what he read. Dear Bepin, I had no idea that affluence would bring about the kind of change in you that it has done. Was it so difficult for you to help out an old friend down on his luck? I have no money. So my resources are limited. What I have is imagination, a part of which I used in retribution of your unfeeling behavior. Well, you will be all right again now. A novel I have written is being considered by a publisher. If he likes it enough, it will see me through the next few months. Chanda came. Bepin Babu said, I'm fine. It all came back as soon as I got off the train at Ranchi. A unique case, said Dr. Chanda. I shall certainly write about it in a medical journal. The reason why I sent for you, said Bepin Babu, is that I have a pain in the hip from a fall I had in Ranchi. If you could prescribe a painkiller, Satyajit Ray. Comprehension check. Had Bepin Babu really lost his memory? and forgotten all about a trip to Ranchi? Why do you think Chunilal did what he did? Chunilal says he has no money. What is in that he does have?